Okay, so we're going to run some calculations on this to no, I did it again. Sheesh. Hey guys, so today I'm very excited to chat. We've got two questions I'd like to go through, and I've got a lot of clients that ask how we break down the expenses. How do we decide what we're going to pay for a home? And so my goal today is to walk you through exactly the process we use, and then also help walk through whether putting the property on the market or working with a cash investor is going to be best. Whether you're in Michigan, if you're in Grand Rapids, if you're in Spring Lake, Grand Haven, doesn't matter. Here's some very fast methods that you can use to help dictate what you're going to be able to net for your home, and then also if putting your property in the market or working with us or another investor is best for you. Well, hey there, good morning. Um, it's a good day over here. So I've realized I've had a couple clients ask how we come up with the prices that we pay for homes, and um, why sometimes real estate agents can't be confident in their pricing. Um, so my goal today is to kind of walk you through what we do and how we go about pricing and determining what we can pay for your house. So I'll go ahead and get started. So this is just an example. So this is a property very close to myself. I live in Spring Lake. I know this area quite well. And what I'm going to do is walk through this scenario and determine the condition of the home, what repairs are necessary, and then what I might be able to pay for a house like this, given the comparable. So I'm going to go ahead and get started from the very beginning. So don't worry about the websites I'm using. These are neither of these will be available to the public, so it's not something you'll be able to use. But this is how real estate agents and investors are going to price your property um, and determine its fair market value. So we'll go ahead and get started. And just so you know, this is our local MLS called Mishrick, and we can see the homes that are sold in the area, which properties are listed, and how long properties take to sell, and also their condition. So we'll go ahead and look at active, sold. We're going to look at everything that's been active, pending, sold, or expired. We'll stick to the last 12 months to start with, and then we'll go from there. So I'm going to look at areas in N because that's the area it's in. We're going to look at only condos because this Park Place is a condo. And I run two specific searches. So the first one is going to be condos that are like the property, sort of in the general area. But I often start inside that particular condo association to see what maybe the neighboring units have sold for, because they're often the very best comparables. Um, so this condo, I believe, is somewhere in here. I'm not sure which one it is, but we've got this is the condo association. I think there's 40 units, if I recall correctly. In fact, you can see inside the map area how many units there are. So what I'm going to do is just pull that area first, and then we're going to back out looking at um, the the properties that have sold in the surrounding areas outside the condo unit. Now, in this case, let's assume the property doesn't require any repairs at all. Um, and then from there, we can adjust our price if any repairs are needed. Okay, so we've got four comparable properties. And what we're going to do, I'm going to move me up to the bottom right. And what we're going to do is ensure that these match. So this is the condo association. There's actually only two. So you can see that this 17595 Park Place is the same type of condo as this. The bottom two are a different condo association, so I was mistaken. These are not included. They're a very different condo product, so we're going to keep those out. So it looks like our best two comparables are these two, 205, 2010, that they sold for. So let's look at when they sold. They're both 2-bedroom, 3-bath, 1,900 square feet, so it does have a finished basement. they sold on the market. These are little things right here. So the home sold with conventional financing. There was no seller's concessions paid. Conventional, no seller's concessions, sold for 205. So both of these are in the last 12 months. I'm going to back out just a touch again. And what I'm doing is as I search this, I'm modifying my search so that it's accurate as I'm looking, because I don't want the other condos in here. So I'm going to go like this instead. Get rid of our first polygon. And now we're going to go back an extra year just in case there's more condos that have sold in the area. Now keep in mind, as cash buyers in Grand Rapids, along the lakeshore, it's important that we really do our research, so you can see how careful I am when we're pricing, just particularly to a neighborhood. There we go. So we've got one more addition. This sold for $160. It sold $160,000 early 2018. And what I'm doing right here is I'm reading through the details. So 3-bed, 2-bath, needs floor covering and paint. So it looks like this property was in sort of rough condition. Yeah, it kind of looks messy. Sold for $165. The kitchen's pretty reasonable. Looks a little bit funny. The basement isn't finished. Okay. Partially finished, it looks like. Let's go back again. Yep, so same thing. So it looks like that if the floor covering was performed, this would be in line with the condos today at probably 205 to 210. So I'm going to quickly grab, I'll draw, no, I'm not. So you guys have seen a distribution curve before. What we're going to look at right here, I'm just pulling up a random distribution curve. So in this condo association, because the properties are really, really similar, we have a good idea what the property's worth. And I can look at the numbers here. Again, the comparables, and I'm looking at, in my mind, a 200 to 200 and maybe 205 to $215,000 condo. If the property's clean, doesn't require repairs, and is reasonably updated. Sorry about that. Okay. So what I'm looking at is a tight distribution curve in terms of pricing. Now, assuming we had a property that was in the country, something that is a little harder to price. So let's go over here. I'm going to pull up a brand new one. This is actually a property I'm purchasing. And it interestingly was on the MLS. I don't buy a lot of homes that are on the MLS, but this is a rental. It's a 6-unit rental. And you'll see that the area it's in is very rural. So it's very hard to run comparables for a home like this for a lot of reasons. There's just very few homes in this area, where if we go back to the previous example, you can see surrounded by properties that look just like it. And so the condos association is going to be a tight standard deviation. What that gives us is a very good idea of what your property's worth. For something that's out in the country where there's maybe a lot of benefits to the home, but it's hard to price, that's very hard for us to offer and be really, really confident in the offer we're giving. And this is a very good illustration. So as our confidence interval of the home decreases, our parabola or our analysis of the property gets wider, and we're not exactly sure what the home's going to sell for. So we're not able to be quite as confident as with our offer. So that's why sometimes if we seem like we're nervous, increase in our offer, even though it seems like the margins are there, we're not always able to increase that offer price. So let's go back and let's put a price on this, and I'll show you exactly the formula we use to make this happen. So I'm going to go open this up. Okay. Okay, I think that's working. Yeah, we're recording again. So what I'm going to do is establish the price we can pay for this condo. There we go. Sorry about that. All right, so the price we can pay for this condo. So we've established the after repair value. Let's call it $205,000. That's my confidence interval. It's possible it would go up to 215, but again, I can't be confident of that, so I'm not going to say that. So we're going to say 205,000 is the final repair value. Now I'm going to give you guys some expenses that we have when we buy and sell a home. So I'm going to go ahead and put this to 205,000. And we're going to use the formula. So cost of sale, we're going to say our cost of sale is equal to the 205,000. Now, because we have to close the property, sell the property, pay title insurance and commissions again, we're actually going to multiply by 0.92. So I'm sorry, 0.092. There we go, 0.092. I'm sorry about that. So what this is giving us is an idea of what our cost of sale is when we sell the home. So if we sell it for $205,000, when we sell the home, it's going to cost us $18,800 to sell the property. It's a lot of money, but that's you can see it's about 8% of the purchase price. Okay, the very next thing is our purchase cost. So this is when we buy the property. Now our purchase cost is relatively slim, but we'll just account for 2%. So I'm sorry, not 0.2, but just 2%. So that's a $4,000 cost. Now, assuming there's no work performed, typically our turn time is about 3 months. So what we're going to do is calculate what our cost of money is. And what we can do is we can calculate this. It's approximately 1% per month. So we're just going to say to hold the funds is going to be $6,000 of interest paid during the time of ownership. Now, assuming there's 0 repairs that we need to pay, we need to also make money. So our income is going to be right here. So you can see how I sort of work backwards. So we're going to say our income desired, and the number we aim for is $30,000 for all of our flips. Now, remember, repairs is a section here. So now what we're going to do is separate these. I'll make this a little bit larger for you guys. I'm sorry. There you go. A little bit bigger anyway. So the repair value, oops. All right, here we go. Giving you guys a trippy calculation. What is going on? This is crazy. Oh no. Oh boy, this is hysterical. Here we go. My goal here is to show a sort of piece of calculation that we're doing, very simplified in terms of how we go about buying the property and determining the price here with a just very simple calculation. Most of the time we do this in our head, show up, we have an idea of what the property's worth, and very quickly I can establish what I can pay for the home. But this is just to put it on paper so you have an idea of what we can pay for with cash when we see your home in Grand Rapids, Holland, anywhere in West Michigan. All right, so I'm going to use a quick formula here. So our cost of sale we're going to indicate is 8% of the price of the home when we sell the house. Now, you'll see how I did that calculation. I just multiplied B2, the sale price, at 205. So that's the ARV we predicted, the repair value we predicted in the previous section. And so now our cost of sale is $16,400. All right. What's up, Winnie? It's okay. I think my dog was just dreaming. All right, so the purchase cost, what does it cost us to buy the house? Not very expensive. So our closing costs when we purchase are about $1,000. And that's just a very easy number that we establish and see consistently. All right, cost of monies, we can do this formula very simply. So in general, when we use investors and people come and join us, we end up either using our money or somebody else, but there's always a cost to using our money. And that cost sits at about 1% per month. So we seem that, our goal is to turn 12% a year. So approximately 1% per month is a good way to do it. So if we're buying this home, I assume this is probably a 3 to a 4 month hold time. So we're going to say 3.5. So our cost of funding or cost of monies is $7,000 or so. When we flip a home, we're looking for a $30,000 income. That's what we've determined needs to happen. Occasionally we'll show up and say, okay, I like the house. It's maybe a low value property, or you just happen to be a very nice person and we want to help you out. Sometimes we're okay with 20, 25K. Now we're going to run this assumption first, and let's just say it needs some paint and carpet, and our repairs come in at $8,000. So now we're going to run our formula, and we're just going to say is equal to B2 minus our expenses. So here and that. All right. So now you can see how the total we can pay comes into a factor of $142,000, assuming we need to make $30,000 and there's $8,000 of repair. So you can see that if the home doesn't need any work, I'm at 150. If the cost of sale drops, perhaps we already have a buyer for the property, or maybe this is an interesting thing, but if you can discuss using a land contract, we can eliminate the need for cost of monies. So if you're okay selling us the property but not getting paid all of your money for maybe 3 or 4 months, we can eliminate that and often pay a higher value, say 157. So you'd save the cost of funds needed. So it's a very cool way to do that. Anyway, this is just a very simple summary of how we go about establishing a purchase price for these homes. So if I were to buy this home on Park Place Circle, our offer, without diving deep into how to generate the cost of repairs, would sit close to, I think that was $7,000. So our offer would sit very, very close to 150 if the home's in very, very good condition. And that would allow you to walk away with cash, within 2 weeks of meeting with us. And so this is just a very straightforward method of how we price out a home. Now, if you're considering selling your home, you're probably wondering if you should put your property on the market or you should sell to an investor. So let's do a breakdown of what it would cost. Of what it would cost if you're to sell with either an investor or an agent. So let's go ahead and do these numbers. Now, we would assume the same price. So this is the price that we're going to sell the home for. Now, assuming the house needs absolutely no repairs, your cost of sale is going to sit something like this. Your cost of sale now is going to be often about 0.9. You save just, your costs are going to go up just a bit. So we're going to say 0.09. We're going to add in something right here.
Oh my gosh, I didn't realize you were still here.
All right, so what we're going to do right here is add in something called seller's concessions. This is very common for homes that need some work. And in this range, we'd have 0. But seller's concessions often sit in the value of 3% of purchase price. So that puts us at $6,000. Now, you, of course, don't have to sell your home, and you don't have to buy any money or borrow any money to sell. Now, I'm going to add one thing here. So you're not making money on the sale of your home, but you do have hold time. So when we buy the property, it's 7, maybe 14 days. But when you have the property, listing with an agent could mean that you have the property an extra 3 or 4 months. So I add up, utility costs, electrical costs, my mortgage expenses. If I'm behind on my mortgage, what are my late fees and my impact on my credit, and simply my time. So we'll ignore that. And let's say that your $205,000 mortgage is $1,200 a month plus $300 utilities. So that puts us at $1,500. If we're going to have the property for 4 months, that means we're going to have $6,500 in hold time expenses. It gets very expensive very quickly. Okay, so you don't have any income desired, and sometimes we'll need to make repairs. Let's say it's very minimal. We have to do $1,500 or maybe $2,500 of paint, maybe some light carpet cleaning, something like that. So if you're going to walk away with your funds here, so let's determine what you're going to make. You're going to say our 205 minus our cost of sale, minus seller's concessions, minus your hold time expenses, and then also your repairs, and your expenses. Your net is going to sit at about $171,000. So working with us is going to net you less money, in the range of $21,000. And so I can't tell you if that's worth it or not for you. But working with us means a simple sale. Working and putting the property on the market. We are agents, so if that is something that's necessary, talk to us. We'd love to discuss either method. But you'll know better than I, and that's important that you're upfront with us so we can help you make the best decision. Should I walk away with $20,000, hopefully in 3 or 4 months, or would I prefer to have just a bit less and close very quickly? And I can't answer that question for you. That's something that you're going to have to talk to your spouse about, your family about, and determine if that's the very best move. But here's just a very fast breakdown of the differences between selling with an investor or selling the property on the market with an agent. If you have questions, feel free to reach out. We would love to chat, help you determine if working with us, another investor, or an agent is the best move for you. So anytime, feel free to give us a call at 616-345-2727, and we'll do all we can to help you out. Have a good one, guys. Bye.